Welcome everybody to episode 3 of Yɛllɛ. Today I'm excited to be sharing a conversation worth taking home with the one and only Angel Maxine. Angel, I'm really happy to be talking to you today. A lot of people know you as Ghana's first openly transgender musician, but what really stands out to me is how wide and intentional your work is. You're a musician, a performer, a creative director, a public speaker, an activist, and doing all of these things at once. Through your music and your voice, you take on things that a lot of people are afraid to touch. Things like LGBTQIA plus rights, trans rights, gender equality, healthcare access, sex workers' rights, and you do it in ways that are joyful, bold, and impossible to ignore. When I look at your work, I knew some of your hits that I've seen come through, but I sort of tried to kind of do a bit of a deeper dive, and I discovered all these other albums and songs that I had missed somehow. I think a lot of people are familiar with your hit Wufie, the 2021 hit that became sort of a pride anthem around the world. But I also really recently enjoyed listening to your album, The Other Woman, which had featured a lot of collaborations, which I'm excited to talk about. It's also not about sex. And I saw sort of an evolution of your music and interesting new directions. And then this year you released Affirm That, right? The album.
Yeah.
And then just this past week, you released a provocative and exciting new single, Trumu Kalakala. So I'm excited to talk about all of this. And in your work, I see a roadmap to freedom. Your music doesn't just respond to Ghana as it is. It points towards what the country could be, toward the full realization of its promise in the motto that we have, freedom and justice, right? So thank you for your courage, your clarity, and your generosity in joining us today on Yɛllɛ. I guess my first question to you is, what is the first time you remember writing a song? Could you take us back to that moment and tell us a little bit about
Hmm. So, good evening to you and to your listeners, and I'm happy to be here and excited about this interview. I think it's been a while. I had conversations like this because, like, especially in Ghana, I was on the radio, on the TV, doing that here, like all this international news and all that. So it's a privilege to be here today. Thank you so much. So I'll say the first time I started writing music was the first time I really felt that I was very different. That was the first time I felt I was very different. That was the first time I wrote a music. And if I look back on the songs that I have done, all my songs, about 99% of my song, is about freedom. It's being free to express one's self, regardless gender identity, ethnicity, religion, your tribe, or whatever. It's a way of just expressing yourself. The first song I wrote was in the year 2000. Yes, 2000. I was in secondary school, and that is where all the laughter and the bully and all that started from, where, like, comes from, because you are different. Then you could just say, hey, you act like a man and all that. And that was the first time I wrote my first song, She's a Boy. And I wrote this because people saw a she in a boy.
it?
So and at that time, I hadn't identified myself as a trans woman yet. I was still living as a male. So it was just an affirmation to myself and to also people to say that she is a boy. So I
Mm,
recorded a song. Like I was in SS. I recorded a song and I kept it. And after school, after that was 2002, I started trying to meet with other artists, see other musicians, people who I just love,
mm,
people who I think their work doesn't follow
mm,
how society wants it to be.
mm.
Like people like Miss Bell, Triple M, like people who were just free to do this. So I started following people like that, looking at the things that they are doing and empowering myself and telling myself that, look, I can really do this.
Mm.
So this is when I really started writing my own songs, tried writing my own lyrics, putting my own things down in my own way, in the rhythm that suits me.
Right.
Exactly. So this is how I would say my music really started. And also, I was very expressive and also very dramatic.
Okay.
So it was it was all parts of, coming together to form my art.
Right.
Yes.
So when you
Yeah.
say, I mean, that's a really interesting time because I went to secondary school in Ghana as well. I went to Presec. Where did you go?
Sorry. I went to Ghana Secondary School in Koforidua.
Okay. So
Ghana's.
yes. Okay. So I went to Presec, and that's where also my love of theater, performance, it was a boys' school, so we used to put on dresses and play the parts of women, and I'm a gay man. But that it was an opportunity to sort of express, um, a femininity or like a part of you that's queer, that's not necessarily conforming to society, right? And so I did that through theater. I was also in like music and all that stuff. And so I guess secondary school is an interesting place where I guess maybe it's the time, you're transitioning from being a child through those like teen adolescent years, late adolescent into adulthood. And that's where you're sort of finding yourself, right? As a person, because you're given a script by society, but for every person in the world, you have to customize that script, right? And for some people, it's more dangerous or more difficult because of how society is wired. For queer people, trans people, it's harder. So it's interesting that that is something that happens for many of us in that time. I'm interested in particular because you said you were very dramatic, you were into performance, right? Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think I saw a post some years ago, a couple of years ago, I think where you shared pictures of you either on stage in school. What did your artistic expression and performance look like?
Okay, so my artistic expression and performance was just to be myself, was just to be my authentic, original self, was not to imitate any other person. So when I started feeling comfortable with myself, I started dressing the way I want to appear on the stage for people to see very differently. Wearing my long boots. At that time, people don't wear that long boots, but I will go to I used to go like Cantamanto a lot. I'll go to
Mm,
Cantamanto and go and buy the long boots. You can find things that makes you like gives you what you want.
yeah.
So this is how it started. I will go and buy the things from Cantamanto and come and wear them. And I used to sing. I used to gather my siblings and my cousins and all that, and I will sing for them. And I used to be the Mapuka dancer,
Okay.
where where I'll be dancing with them. It was all a part of like expressing myself. I used to create the choreographies and do it and create it the way I want it to be. And that was all the way like I used to just express the way I am. And they loved it. honestly, they loved it because I was a very interesting child. And I remember my father would call me Michael Jackson when somebody comes to complain about maybe the way I have dressed or the way I have, like, maybe doing things, my way of being dramatic about things and all that. And my father said, "Oh, that's Michael Jackson. Don't you see the way he is? Oh, the way, oh, don't you see the boots?" So it got to the time that my parents knew the things that I like. And when they buy clothes, they will be intentional to buy the skinny ones for me, because if you buy the baggy one, I'll go and trim it again. So it was all part of my creative expressions, the way I, came together, and I was singing in so many places. I will try and register for events to be able to be creative,
Right.
to be me, to show that I am me. Exactly. So I would say this is how I started building up myself, in that way of just being free to just be me and not fit in some kind of box that the society have created for people like myself.
So could you maybe tell us a little bit about, uh, you told us about that first song that you wrote, She's in secondary school in the year 2000, right? And I think I really became aware of you and your work in 2021. So about 20 years later, around the time of, you know, the the increase in persecution of queer people in Ghana, which then ultimately led to the anti-LGBT bill that was proposed, and all of that. And you and a couple of collaborators created this hit song, Wufie, right? Could you
Yes.
walk us a little bit uh, on that journey? What was life between 2000, the first song you wrote, and that hit song, and then why did you write Wufie?
Okay, so Wufie, I will say I originally wrote Wufie in 2002 after I finished SS, and I recorded it with some engineer, and in between that time and the time that I released Wufie now, I was just a queer artist who was just singing about freedom and love and other things. And I used to, because I had a very soft voice, people like to feature me a lot.
Mm.
So I used to feature in a lot of like do backup, like a backup vocalist
Okay.
for, yes, for a lot of artists. So when I openly came out as Ghana's first openly trans, when I came out as an openly trans musician, I when I had the first interview, they asked me, so okay, you have come out as a trans woman. So what's next? So what? You want people to know they are trans, so what? I said, no, I don't want people to know that I'm a trans woman, but I want people to know that I am an artist. And people like me can also be artists and can also make good music and can also share what they also have inside them to the society. So this is how I got the name Ghana's first openly transgender musician. So I released a song titled Dedede during that time, and that song was about love and sex. And right after the this is where the issue of the LGBT community started coming up,
Mm.
where the LGBTQI plus rights, LGBT rights office was raided, and the queer community became a target. And I saw somebody that I knew who was queer, who was really speaking ill about the queer community.
Mm-hmm.
And I also met somebody, a queer person who was I know's mother, saying so bad about the queer community. Then, Wofie, that song rang in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said it randomly, like, na wo kasa obi ekojo besi ane say ebi Wofie o. Wo kasa obi esupi, ebi Wofie tumu ebi Wofie.
Why are you making so much noise? Yeah.
Then, and I said because nipa no can't share away and who feel say then. So then I remember that song Wofie where I
20
recorded.
years ago. Yeah.
Yes. And that song, when I recorded, it wasn't like this now. So I took that CD and I started playing it. And I have a friend who I called and I said, look at this song that I did that time, eh? This is the time for me to really amplify this song because this is the moment for this song. So my friend discouraged me because she said, oh no, she discouraged me because she said, oh no, you know that now it has become very risky. You're a trans woman, so don't put yourself out there like that. You might be a target. And I said, no, I'm not putting myself, I'm putting the song out there. I want people to hear the song. So when I wanted to do the song, I was thinking of who can I collaborate with on this song that can really push the message, and people who also like think like myself, not just having any random artist on it because I want to feature it, and also not coming out to release it alone because I feel like people have different perspectives and we can put them together to make this song more powerful and have a better, like a higher reach. So I thought of One Love, and I said, One Love will be the best person to do this song with. So I wrote One Love on Instagram, and I said, at that time I didn't know One Love. I knew him as an artist and all that, but we weren't very close or like know ourselves. So I just wrote him on Instagram and said, I have this song that I think that you are the best person to be on the song. It is you or nobody else. And he said, okay. He gave me his email and he said I should send the song to him. Then I sent the song to him and he said, oh wow, this is an amazing song. The next day, One Love has done his verse.
He was that inspired, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next day he had done his verse. Then I wrote him again. I told him, I said, you know what? I think we should feature Sister Debbie on this one because she will also create a huge impact on this song. Then he said, okay. Then he spoke to Sister Deborah, and Sister Deborah also heard the song and she loved it, and she also recorded her parts. So we brought it together. And at that time, because there's trumu, everyone fear, and my then former manager was saying, oh no, Angel, that part is too vulgar. We should mute it.
Change the word, but no.
Yes, we should mute it. I said we should mute it. Don't you think this part is what will get people pissed? Will get people interested to listen? No, we should mute it. I said, no, let me ask One Love. So I asked One Love said, oh, Charlie, no. That is what we need.
Yeah, that's the essence of the song, yeah.
Yes,
that's
what we need. Yes, so we just came together and we released the song, and we started promoting it bit by bit, and One Love shot the video for Ufie. We posted it, and from the beginning it wasn't moving, so it's just a song that is there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think after a year or two, I was just there. I think 2 years. After 2 years, I was just there when my phone started making I said, what's happening? Then somebody called me and said, your song is going viral. And I was like, oh, what? Oh, it was a joyous moment for me that day. Because I was like, after 20 years,
Yeah.
after 20 years, and people started using it, and the message was so strong. Everybody's verse carried something, a different message, but all the messages were interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how dynamic that song is. So it was something that, like, we are giving people, it's not just doing music or saying something, but there's a rhythm, there's a way to it. It's relaxed, it's funny, it's still telling you that, hey, this is the message.
It's got a bite, yeah. But that's the thing I
Exactly.
noticed in your work, that there is a sense of humor that's in almost every song. I mean, some are more vulnerable, some are more, but the humor is always forward. Is that something that just comes to you naturally? Is that just because of how you live your life, your perspective on life, or is it more intentional that, okay, in order to make people take this medicine that is necessary for society or for Ghana or for the larger world, we need to make it sweeter or funnier? You know, is it just part of who you are, or is it more intentional in terms of making a hard pill to swallow easier to swallow?
Okay. So when you meet me, I am just like my songs.
Okay.
Yes, when you meet me, I'm just like my songs. The songs are me. It's not intentional, but it is me. It is who I am. Naturally, I have that element of being very funny, of just being somebody who says one thing and everybody is laughing. I just have that energy around me already. So it is that energy that I just put in the song. Because if we take life so seriously, we will get depressed. So
Absolutely.
let's make life as fun as it can be for us. And that is what I put in my music. That is what I put in even writing my songs, even
Mhm.
telling my stories. It's just the way I speak, it's the way I sing on the song. It's just like that. Yes.
And that authenticity comes through, and I think that's part of the power of it. So when Wufie became a hit 20 years later, what did that change for you, publicly or privately? Did that change your life in any way?
Yeah, so when Mufia became a hit, people got to know me. Like I started, like, a lot of people started reaching out to me. I became that icon, that figure or a model of hope for a lot of people. And this is something that I always wanted to be, or I always wanted to stand for something. And Wufie gave me that thing I wanted to stand for. It changed my life also, because then people started getting to know about my work.
Mm,
People started getting to know about me. People started getting to also know about Ghana, and also know that there's a loud queer community that exists in Ghana. So it really, really changed a lot of me. I became like a point of contact to Ghana and to
right.
a lot of queer people and to a lot of things. So Wufie really changed a lot for me, and it it it, it started building me up into where I have actually become. it also, I'll say, built my confidence
Mm.
to also not sugarcoat my words, but to speak freely
Okay.
and just express myself freely. So I'll say this is how, what will feel changed really, really, really for me.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And your music, your visibility affected me as well, because as a gay Ghanaian who left Ghana still in the closet, came to college in the US, and that's where I had the space to sort of come out to myself first and then start coming out to friends and family and so on and so forth. And I've been able far away to build a life, where I can be more free as a gay Ghanaian man. Um, and in some ways, whenever I went back home to Ghana, I was mostly like to see friends, to see my family. And I could just kind of make a quiet visit. I don't really reconnect with too many people, maybe a few friends from secondary school and so on and so forth. But it was very exciting in 2021 and later through your visibility, through the work of LGBT Right Ghana and other activists on the ground, to realize that there was an open out community, of queer people. And that you're right, that also made me bolder in many ways. And there was something in another one of your songs, I think it's called Kofi's a Girl, right? Where you say, there's the song, there's a speaking break where you talk about how the song is for the little girl that you were, and this is the song that you wish existed when you were growing up, right? Could you talk a little bit
Yes.
about like role models? What was that like? What role models were there for you growing up? And if not, what did that do for you and the community that that grew up in Ghana, the queer community in Ghana?
Mm,
And how does that affect your work, I guess?
yeah. So I'll say I really hadn't had any role models because I was a very indigenous Ghanaian woman. Like I was a Ghanaian woman and I didn't look else at other places. And I didn't see anybody like me when I was like, coming up. I didn't see people who were like me or any musician or any artist whom I look up to, who has been who or an African who has boldly accepted themselves that I am queer and I am doing this or that. All the people that I assumed are queer always came to sit on the TV to lie about how they are not queer and how they are straight, whatever they are. So I think I was my own empowerment tool. I was my own icon. I was my own inspirer. I was, my own self and just living myself. People who rather inspired me were people who were not queer people.
Mm.
They were just artists who had a message. And these are some of the artists that inspired me because they had a message and they are speaking against something the society is doing to some people or fighting for some justice. And these are the people who inspired my music and my creative work. So I would say all this put together give me the, I felt like, no, I will also have to come out so that somebody will be inspired by me. Maybe there's a queer artist also there who can really do a lot, but they don't really have anybody to actually look up to. And I can be the first person in Ghana there that people can look up to because one person have to start. Then we start to build on. So I'll say this is how the journey has been, and this is how it has really affected my work to live that authentic way of doing my work, because I didn't have anybody who I looked up to who was doing things like me in Ghana.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, so I relate to that because I'm a filmmaker, and you're right. When I was growing up, one of the hardest things about sensing that you're gay, you're queer, I didn't really have language back then, was not having an example. Like straight people have so many examples, they have the default script. But queer people, at least back then, didn't really have examples. Now, because of the work that you do, the work of other people that are out on the continent in various countries, in various public spaces, the next generation, the generation coming up has role models. And so I try to do that in my work as well, in my film. Part of, I made a documentary about African students studying in the US and eventually included my own story. But my own story in there is sort of a coming out to my country, Ghana, as a gay man. And that was necessitated because I felt like, I was in a position to add my voice to the conversations around the anti-LGBT bill, right? Ghana was debating that. And it was important to sort of be out and show up in that way as well. Your music does multiple jobs, right? I mean, your songs educate, they advocate, they move people. You have a song about PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis for HIV care. So you have things that tackle public health. You have fear, visibility. You did a song called Kill the Bill. You have a song about sex workers and how many ways in which we live our lives is no different from what sex workers do at Shawo. When you sit down to make a song, how do you decide what a song needs to do?
So when I sit down to make a song, first of all, the song should inspire me. Also, the song should have a part of my lived experience. The song should also have a part of the people around me, the stories of the people who are around me.
Mm.
So when I sit down to write a song, this is how it just goes. I just look at all these things and just come up with a song that is relatable to everybody. So this is how my process of writing my songs are. Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. So since we're talking about process, maybe you could tell us about your latest song. I mean, you were teasing it a couple of weeks ago when I encountered it on Instagram, and I was like, whoa, first of all, it's a bop. So it's called Kumukalakla. It's a bop, it was like fire, like I want to dance to it. And then, the lyrics, they've got a bite. You are coming after people, right? People that are hurting other people for no other reason than selfish gain. People that are destroying the beautiful things that Ghana has. People that are destroying, undermining the potential of Ghana as a beacon of freedom and justice. So could you tell us about this song, this new song, where it came from, and why, how did you decide that, this is the song that you're releasing next?
Okay. So Trumukalakala, it's like something that I have been thinking of for a very long time after this issue of this bill. And I wanted the song to sound fun, also very very unserious, and while also saying something very serious.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I realized that my music is a way of queer archiving. It's a way of archiving all the things that are happening in the queer community, or I have happened to the queer community in Ghana, or people who are, everything that is happening. This is what my songs are around. I also asked, so I was on a conference call with some friends, and I said, can each of you mention the names of the politicians who came together to draft and pass this bill? Everybody says Sam George, 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 Sam George. I said, but it isn't Sam George alone. There are so many people who came out together. It's just that Sam George used his face to come out, to talk about it. But there are so many people who also came out to also support this bill and help it pass. And we have to name these people and call them out and archive their names in the history of Ghana and in queer history, that these are the people who want us to put us in prison. So first of all, I start the song with a humor of the way of the questions they ask us.
Yeah.
So it is these politicians who ask us this question. There's a politician in it called Dafia Mekbo. When I challenged him, he asked me, am I a man or a woman? I'm confused with my gender. So they ask you in Chi, Uchabohi, also your ba Uchabohi.
You told them. Right.
And this is also a way to also come out from that shame of anal sex. It is also a way to come out from that, to make it fun, that to make it interesting that chair is behind me.
Yeah.
To break that stigma of anal sex. So I introduced the song like that. Like Ochabohi, Elbomechi. Then I'm also asking you a question. Do you like that pussy?
Yeah.
Do you like the trumu pussy? And before somebody had the right to come and ask me that kind of thing, it's because Sam George gave people the way or the freedom to be able to think that they have the right to come and ask me that question. So it is him that I'll call out first. So this is how I arrange the song. Then I come up to say that it is alleged that he went to collect money. It's true. We all said it. Colonization money from the world. It's alleged that the World Congress of Families in America sponsored you. It is alleged.
Because years ago, also, you're on record on an interview where you understood why queer Ghanaians deserved rights. And then all of a sudden, a few years later, you're singing a completely different song.
Yes.
So clearly somebody has been somehow in there.
Exactly, yes. So I say it is alleged that this and that and that and that and that. The things that people are saying, it is alleged. It is alleged that you did this. It's alleged that this. It's alleged that you shared the money among your politicians. It's alleged that it's alleged. Then I come to say the money that you took, you've put the lives of people in danger. People like me. You have put us in danger because of your greedy, and because of that, your mother. It is a Ghanaian language.
Yes.
It's just like say Onya is so. It is a Ghanaian language.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your music always takes me back. It's like, okay, so it's token in, I'm like there with you. And, it's a queer, it's queering. It's bringing to the fore those of us that have had to sort of be in the shadows for safety, as we've been told we're taboo. We're all part of the fabric. And one of the beautiful things that I thought, or the powerful thing about what you did in that open in the song, is usually the question is supposed to be so powerful and to throw you off to the point where you are shamed and then you go and hide. But when you answered it, you neutralize the power of that torpedo that they thought they were sending. They were like, actually, I have no issue talking about it. It's right there. What is your next question? You know, and then, you know, in terms of talking about the archiving, the queer archiving, I think you're doing so. I hadn't thought of that, but I think you're doing something really powerful, because in some ways, that is how we used to pass down history, right? Our history was oral before it was written, right? We used to sing songs about all that had happened to our people, to various ethnic groups, and in our various languages, right? And it's a really smart tradition when nobody could name any other one of, you know, the proponent of the bills other than the leader. And so your song is doing the indigenous thing, right? You're telling us we're foreign imports, we're being, you know, but your song and who we are is actually reinforcing the traditional, somebody's asking if I'm Ghanaian. Yes, I'm Ghanaian. So anyway, I think, you know, and at the very end of the song also, you issue a warning to these people that are instigating Ghana's downfall, that are dividing Ghanaians, that are harming and putting our queer Ghanaians' lives in danger. And for me, when I heard that, you seem to be like a modern day Yasantua, right? Because Yasantua was this like woman warrior who fought the British colonial powers, led her people to fight the sort of invaders, the oppressors. And in some ways, you're leading in that fight today, right? Because you're issuing a warning to the oppressors to change their ways or else. So anyway, I love that song. I think it's powerful. And I think everybody should check it out. So is there a signature dance coming for Trumukalakala?
This is what I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to see how I can create something for Trumukalakala. Yes, I just said, you know what? Let me just release the song. The time will come for it, but the song has to be there. Somebody has to hear it.
Right.
I'm still creating, so in case somebody also listens to it and they have an idea, they can also write me.
Yeah.
Let's create it together. Yes, it is for us. So I am not the one who is supposed to do everything. I've offered you the song. Let's do something with it. Yes. Yeah. So it's, and also like putting like these politicians' names in there, like Johnny Sinfojo, Emmanuel Bejra, Helen Tosu, Roxinda Fiamekpo. People do not even know that all this, there are even women who were parts of putting this bill together. And everybody's name is there, but only it's all part of it.
Yeah, and then there are the organizations. You also mentioned the religious bodies,
yes.
You know, the churches that, you know, had all these marches, right? There's so many things you could be marching for that actually build Ghanaian society and take us to a better place, and yet you're marching for the oppression of your fellow Ghanaians. Thank you for calling them out on all of that nonsense. So I was listening to your work, and I noticed that you actually draw on music from all over Ghana. You sing in multiple languages, Twi, Ga, maybe a few others, and Pidgin, right? And maybe a few others. But your music influences are from all over Ghana, because I grew up partly in Bolgatanga. And so, what was the song? I think Kofi's a Girl, right? Kofi's a girl uses the
Yes.
I forget what it's called, maybe Kologo music. You collaborated with I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name, Adi Mazanga.
Yes, Adima Zanga, yes.
So there's that, and then there's like the song Sugar Mama, also that has
Yes.
Northern Ghanaian rhythms. Um, and then there's the Assumptions, which maybe I'm making this up, but I felt like the melody was from a Ghanaian children's rhyme or something. Um, so anyway, I was fascinated by the fact that, I think a lot of Ghanaian musicians kind of pick from their own culture, and we have very rich diverse ethnic groups and languages and cultures in Ghana, which is a beautiful thing. But you're sort of doing like a pan Ghana thing with your work, but kind of moving and borrowing from all these places. Is that because you grew up in how did that come about? Did you grow up in a lot of different places in Ghana, or is it intentional to sort of pull as many bits of Ghana into your work as possible?
Okay. So with Kofi is a boy, Kofi is a girl, Assumptions, not about sex album. One Love is the one who produced that album. So some of the ideas also came from One Love to
Okay.
also do it this way and let's do it like that and let's put it this way. But also, Ghana is not only Accra. Ghana is not only Accra. We have so many regions that comes together to form Ghana. So we pick rhythm from everywhere. Rhythms that suits the message. Rhythms, unforgettable rhythms rhythms that can remind you of where you come from. Rhythms that can remind you of your identity. This is the rhythms that I put together, from different sources and put together. Also, as queer people, our stories are interconnected.
Mm. I don't know if it's my end
From
or
other,
hey, you're back. I lost you for a second. You said as queer people are
okay.
connected.
Yes, our stories are interconnected. So wherever you come from, or wherever part of Ghana or wherever part of the world you come from, our stories are the same. So I do songs from all over the world. Next year, I'm looking at exploring very different sounds as well. So maybe I'll not say it now, but
Okay. I mean,
anticipate.
sorry, go ahead.
I said I won't say it now, but anticipate.
Okay. We're excited to see where Angel Maxine goes next in terms of her musical influences. But I will say your work does do that for me. It definitely takes me to my childhood, even to, my childhood in Bolgatanga, with, Kofi's a girl. There were boys that would come around playing that music, so it's really powerful to sort of hear that music, which, we don't hear often in popular music from the bands or else. But in terms of like global influence, or you're casting your eyes further beyond Ghana, I did notice you start to do some of that. I think Life Suite has a reggae kind of beat rhythm to it. It's Not About Sex has that ballroom. Did I
Yeah,
lose you? Did you? Okay.
yeah.
Ballroom Vogue culture type beat to it. So anyway, I'm excited to see where you take us next with your music. Um, so what, maybe we could talk a little bit, if you're comfortable, about public visibility in Ghana, right? So you were doing your thing, kind of building your music career, and then because of the anti-LGBT sentiment, the bill, your hit song, you became more publicly visible in Ghana. At what points did you realize that staying might not be the best, or what was your decision? What impacted your decision to move outside of Ghana?
Okay, so first of all, I moved because I wanted to breathe. I just needed, I just wanted to breathe, and also it got to a point where my mental health was at stake with everything that was happening, and also becoming a public figure actually caged my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something that was quite disturbing because now I couldn't live the life that I used to live anymore, where I could join the trotros, where I can just go to the market because I can go to the market. I became vulnerable at some points in my life, and I felt that no, this wasn't good for me. Also, I felt like because I was in Ghana, my work wasn't really appreciated.
No, I think I
I
lost you.
used.
Sorry, Angel. I think I lost you for
Can
a
you
bit.
hear
You
me?
said in Ghana your work wasn't appreciated.
Yes, in Ghana, I felt my work wasn't appreciated. Not my work was appreciated by the community, but in the society, my work wasn't appreciated. I was always being attacked.
Mm.
You know, I faced a lot of physical violence, a lot of abuses. Like there was so much that was going on, and I thought it wise that it was time for me to just leave for a while and breathe, and also give myself the space and the chance to explore more on my work and also find other opportunities and collaborations. Because in Ghana, if it wasn't for One Love and Sister Deborah, who featured in my song, nobody wants to listen to anything that I'm doing because I am trans, because I'm queer, because I'm not singing what they want to hear.
Mm.
So fight to end. I didn't want anybody to shut me down. I didn't want to go through the threat that I was going through. So I decided to just leave Ghana so that I can be able to do my work, be free, be visible, and be able to think. And also be able to say the things that Ghanaians who live in Ghana cannot see.
Mm.
Exactly. So this is the reason why I actually just left Ghana. I just wanted that space to. I didn't leave because I was weak or because I was afraid or anything. I just felt that I had to live for the community. I had to live for the community. I I don't want anybody to come and just kill me for nothing.
Right.
Where there are other places in the world where I am accepted, where I'm loved, where I'm appreciated, where I'm seen as a human being, where I can live freely, walk freely, talk freely, be a human being. I just have to just leave. So this is why. Yeah.
In 2021, or maybe a little bit, there was this powerful video that you shared with your mom. I think you and your mom went live on Instagram. And I
Yeah.
remember my friends and I, queer friends in the US, were just like exciting and buzzing about that video because that was an image that we hadn't seen publicly, right? Where a parent, a Ghanaian parent, is fully embracing and loving and defending their child in its public way, right? The queer child in this public way. Could you talk a little bit about what allyship actually looks like and what, and especially from family for you and what it does for you?
Yeah.
No, I can't hear you right
Am
now.
I here?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. So, having my mother coming out openly to support me, sometimes, let me put it this way, sometimes when people see my mother coming out to support me, or they see my mother and I maybe on TV or something, it feels like, oh, it's easy, but it wasn't that easy. It came with a lot of education and also a lot of sacrifices, to make my mother understand me as a person and also understand the community as a whole. So my mother coming to support me was because I took time to educate her. I took time to make her understand. I took my time. I was patient for her to come into terms with the reality of now. So it was something that I have built up over the years, build up over the years, and teaching her. So it came to a point that when she sees something, she will share with me. When she sees something about the queer community, she will start sharing with me. When I see something empowering, I share with her. So she started learning through these ways. Sometimes I see some article online, I share with her so that she reads it, so she understands. I see some videos on YouTube, I share with her. Me and her, we sit down and we watch videos of other queer people's stories so that she knows that the stories that I have told her or what she has seen, and remind her of so many instances that I was screaming to give her a message. She has to listen to me now. So it was, that gradual step of, and she finally said, I want to come out and support you. I want to come out and speak and call out mothers like myself to support their children. Regardless, whatever your child is, it is your child and it is your duty as a parent to protect that child. So she came out because she has so much, when she understood the community, when she saw the abuses, the attacks, the inhuman, things that people were doing to the community, she felt like it was her responsibility as a mother to come out and speak against it, to say that I also have a queer child, but I am protecting my child. I have a queer child, this is mine. So people should emulate that, and it was something that was very great. It was a big achievement for me, having my mom until date.
I think I just lost you for a second. You said it was a big achievement for you to have your mom.
Yeah, it was a bigger achievement for me to have my mom openly come and support me, because up to now she really supports me, and she's like a rock, my rock. Because it's not easy to know your child a certain way, or call your child a certain name, or know your child's gender for so many years, and switch to now start calling he, she, to now start identifying her with the name that she identifies with. It wasn't an easy thing. It's patience and constant communication, constant talking, constant education like that. It has really been a journey. And I'm really grateful that my mother has been supportive and she really come out to support and supports the queer community. She's now like a mother of the community in Ghana. Yes.
That is beautiful.
It's amazing.
That is beautiful.
She's doing a lot of things with the community in Ghana, and it's amazing.
That's wonderful. We appreciate her, and we appreciate you. I know it's noon. I had a few more questions. I don't know if you have a few more minutes to stay on, or do you
Yes, I have a few more minutes.
Maybe we can
finish our questions. Yeah.
Just wanted to say that, I'm glad you shared actually sort of the behind the scenes journey, because I think it'll be instructive to a lot of people maybe who watch this offline later, because I found that to be true in my family journey, my coming out to my parents as well. I think, sometimes as queer people, we want our parents to just be on board right away. But if I recall how I had a whole journey of coming out to myself, right, as a gay man. And that wasn't overnight, right? It was kind of because society programs you. It programs you with shame. It programs you with fear, and so many other complicated things. But it also programs the parents as well, right? So the work that we have to do to sort of come into our own and step into our own publicly and be out, I think there's a similar journey that parents, siblings, family, other friends maybe have to do as well. And I always encourage friends that are on that coming out journey to their parents to do it as early as possible, because they will need time to process. They will need time to learn the lies that society has trained us all with, and get to a place where they can be the allies that make our lives healthier and make society healthier. But that video, that IG live stream that you and your mom did, it definitely sent, it was like an earthquake in the queer community that at least I was exposed to. We're just so excited to see that image of you, Angel, and your mom, and feel that love, because I think a lot of queer people, a lot of queer kids grew up in that fear of I'm going to lose the love of my parents, right? Or another member of my family if I come out. And seeing that affirmation between you was a really beautiful and hopeful thing. I wanted to ask you about Coward. This is a powerful video that you did, a short film, but also a music video for the song. And in that, I noticed you also directed that. Was this the first time you directed? Have you been directing other music videos, other shorts? And is this a new direction, a new kind of muscle that you're training? Is this a new skill, a new direction that you're going with your work?
Yeah, so I directed it myself. I think it will be the first video I directed for myself. It's the first time I directed a video for myself, because it was my story, and I'm the only person who can tell the story the way it's supposed to be told. Yes. Other directors are amazing. I've done things with other directors like One Love and a lot of people, but for this particular one, it was my story, and I had to direct it my way, not add anything artificial to it, or add certain things to it that will let's start it from here to catch the attention of people, or no. It is my story, and this is how it is, and this is how I wanted to the direction I saw before writing the song. So this is my very first time I really directed it. And the message of the song, I was talking about secrecy and betrayal, loving people in secrecy, in private, and being denied publicly, which is something that a lot of queer people we have gone through. I have gone through it so many times before empowering myself and knowing my self-worth and my self-value. I have gone through this kind of things before, and I felt these were the messages. These are some messages that people don't really talk about because of the shame that it comes with. I started a video of a queer person of a story of myself. It was my story that I was saying. I have been beaten. Those images weren't me, but I have been beaten and abused like that before because of somebody denying themselves of who they are. So and also I wanted to also throw light on how the bill have affected Ghanaians, queer Ghanaians. How you can't stop your heart from loving somebody. You can't stop you can't, nobody can control somebody's feelings. If you are who you are, you're who you are. But this is where somebody will lure you to abuse you because you love them. And this was the story that I wanted to share and also give a warning that if you don't love me, don't hide me away. Don't even come close. I'm not here to play. So it is a story that was mine. I needed to direct that story. That is why I did it. And doing it, it challenged my ability to actually take my art into my own hands and direct it the way I want it.
So it kind of did something similar to Wufie, right? It gave you more confidence in a particular realm of your art. Okay.
Exactly. Yes. Wufie was directed by One Love.
Right. But in terms of, you talked earlier about how the impact of Wufie was, once, it blew up, it gave you more confidence.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yes.
Director. I thought it was powerfully realized. Obviously, it's a very difficult story, but you figured out a way as a director to sort of make those images more watchable, so that you weren't hiding the story, but then you weren't unleashing that violence in its force on the audience. And I thought it was a really brilliant technique to tell that story. And then, of course, in the second half of the video, your song about calling out the cowardice of that type of relationship is sort of taking back power and reasserting it for yourself. So well, good to you on that. I just wanted to ask a little bit about your work. I know you've spoken at the UN Human Rights Council. Could you talk a little bit about that work?
So the UN, I was invited by ILGA World to participate in the renewal of the IESOG mandates, and it was like a week of a lot of series, and and telling them the issues of trans people around the world and how we need support, and also pushing that there will still be protection and security for trans people. So when when I got there, they gave me they came that Angel, we want you to read the scripts for to speak about the mandates today. We want you to speak about it. And at that time, I was a little bit scared. If you were there, I was sweating when I was reading it. I just don't know. It hasn't happened to me in a long time, but I was sweating when I was reading that mandate. It was like, for me, it was like I'm bringing African voice, an African voice to the room. The room full of white European politicians, bringing that African voice to the room for me. And coming from Ghana, a trans woman, and also speaking was something that was very, it was on another level for me that day, you know, and I had to really, I say it from my heart and say it how it's supposed to. See, at the point I was, eating, but you are still speaking. And that is how it felt for me.
I lost you for a second. At a point you were...
At a point, it felt like, you are being beaten, but you still have to talk. That is how I felt. Like, I'm like, I have to say the story to talk on behalf of my people, to talk on behalf of queer Ghanaians, to talk about on behalf of queer Africans, that this mandate has to be signed again, so that we can continue to live freely as we are still living now. So it was deserving to really do that, and I really appreciated the team who gave me the opportunity to really speak there at the UN.
Doing that. It seems, you keep pushing, or your work taking you to new horizons, and may you continue to have the strength and the support for work. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask, what would you like trans and queer people, especially kids in Ghana and Africa, to hear when they encounter your work? What is your message?
I want them to know that they are not alone. There are people like myself. Coming out is a journey. Coming out doesn't start in a day. Take your time, and the time will come for you to be free. This is the message I want to tell them.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
What's the best way for people to support your work?
Stream my music.
I think I lost.
Reach out to me.
Stream your music.
Stream my music. Invite me to events. Collaborate with me. Let's work together. Let's do different ideas. Let's come up with different ideas. And this is how you can support me. This is how you can support my work and what I do. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, Angel, so much for joining me on this honest, vulnerable, powerful conversation. It's been a real joy. I've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time. I've admired your work. You really are, in my view, sort of a beacon showing Ghana specifically, but Africa, towards freedom, right? You're doing the bold, hard work of saying, no, let's not be shy about things that are holding us back. Let us kind of pierce the lie, right? Because for a long time, I feel like homophobes or queerphobes, transphobes have had the loudest voices in the loudest platforms in Ghana and have painted a lie, a major lie in Ghana about who trans and queer people are. And you are sort of taking that power back. You are the Yasantua that's kind of fighting the good fight towards freedom. So thank you for doing that work, and thank you so much for joining me for this conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
Great.
Thank
Well, thanks
you.
everybody who joined us, and we'll watch this online later. See you next time on Yɛllɛ. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.